Was that today?
Brian, we actually fared very well in Myrtle Beach.
After riding out the 180-mile-per-hour winds and massive rains,
as of right now, there has never been a Category 6 hurricane. But scientists claim that hurricanes are only going to intensify due to climate change. A Category 6 hurricane might occur sooner than we think, and we definitely won't be prepared for it. According to Hugh Willoughby, former director of NOAA's Hurricane Research Division, there is every reason to expect hurricanes will get stronger. So what happens if a Category 6 hurricane hits America? Spoiler alert, it isn't good. Welcome back to another InformOverload Top 10. If you're new here, hey, I'm Charlotte. On this channel we bring you the news and top 10s inspired by trending topics. Subscribe and turn on the bell so we get to hang out every day, and follow the IO team on social media. Under the 1971 Saffir-Simpson scale, any hurricane with sustained winds above 155 miles per hour is labeled a Category 5. The next tier would suggest that a Category 6 hurricane would have to be sustained winds of above 182 miles per hour. Hurricane Dorian's winds reached speeds of 185 miles per hour, and several other hurricanes since 1950 have as well. A good example is Hurricane Allen from 1980, which had sustained winds of 190 miles per hour. A Category 5 hurricane describes a landscape where pretty much everything in its path has been shredded or flattened. So it's hard to imagine that a Category 6 could even exist at this point, but what if hurricanes got so severe that we were forced to add another category? At number 10, flights cancelled. One of the most common side effects of hurricanes is flights in the area are either postponed or cancelled, and that is for good reason. High winds make flying very dangerous. Hundreds if not thousands of flights are cancelled every year because of hurricane season, and if Category 6 hurricanes were a hazard, yeah, it would get worse. Any traveling during peak hurricane season would be avoided at all costs. Now this might not seem like that big of a deal to you, but listen, we're only at number 10 on the list. At number 9, mass hysteria. Well, that escalated quickly. The Saffir-Simpson scale serves as a tool to let the public know how to prepare for a hurricane. When you hear that a Category 5 hurricane is on its way, you tend to freak out a little, or at the very least worry. You know bad things are coming when a Category 5 hurricane is nearby, and many people take it as a clear sign that they need to evacuate. As of right now, most scientists agree that it's hard to picture a Category 5 hurricane getting worse than it already is. By definition, a Category 5 means total destruction. Category 5s already cause a media frenzy. Imagine how the media will treat a Category 6 storm if they ever arrive. At number 8, confusion. On the flip side of things, if a Category 6 hurricane hits America, people might not treat severe hurricanes as seriously if we add another category. If you introduce a Category 6 hurricane into the mix, people might not treat Category 5 hurricanes with as much caution. There is already a problem with people not evacuating in time for a Category 5 hurricane. People stay in their houses and wait out the storms, and oftentimes, like with the case of Hurricane Harvey, they become stranded without basic necessities because they didn't evacuate in time. Adding an extra category might lessen the impact of the lesser categories because people just won't see them as dangerous. Yet people's safety will definitely be at risk. At number 7, higher wind speeds. Timothy Hall, senior scientist at the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, said that top wind speeds of 230 miles per hour could become a reality by the end of the century if current global warming trends continue. This wind could be so strong it could pick up cars and throw them dozens of meters. If a Category 6 was added, it would likely indicate that hurricanes have the capability of reaching much higher wind speeds, because that's how hurricanes are categorized with the current system. The wind from a hurricane can be extremely devastating. It can rip off the bark of trees and destroy the roofs of houses. A Category 6 hurricane means higher wind speeds, which creates more hazards. Flying, traveling, going outside during a hurricane would essentially mean risking your life. In at 6, less hurricanes. Introducing a Category 6 coincides with the fact that our planet's weather is getting more and more severe as it warms up. It used to be believed that a warmer climate would produce more hurricanes, but that's actually not the common belief anymore among experts. Most scientists now agree that a warmer climate would produce less hurricanes, and they've tested out this theory. Computer models suggest that hurricanes will actually become less common as our planet warms up. Sure, less hurricanes might sound like a good thing, but don't get excited just yet. Although there will be less hurricanes, the ones that do occur will likely be far more severe. Quality over quantity does not apply in this scenario. That was a really quality hurricane, guys. It's a good one. Halfway there at number 5, more rainfall. There is an issue with the Saffir-Simpson scale because wind speed is not the only hazard people have to worry about when it comes to hurricanes. Many experts think that categories don't really convey the potential danger of a storm. For example, Hurricane Harvey was a Category 4 storm, but it was known for its immense rainfall that damaged millions of dollars in property and flooded much of Houston. Hurricane Sandy was only a Category 3, it also was categorized as a tropical cyclone when it hit New York, which meant it wasn't even a Category 1 hurricane. Yet Sandy flooded much of lower Manhattan and left people without power for days. A Category 6 hurricane, if it were added to the scale, would likely cause far more rainfall and flooding. Among scientists, there is an almost unanimous agreement that hurricanes will produce more rain in a warmer climate. That is according to Adam Sobel, professor of applied physics at Columbia University. Warm air holds more water than cool air, so as the planet warms up, it will create more fuel for hurricanes, making them more powerful and dropping dangerous amounts of rain, especially on coastal areas of the United States like Florida, all the way up to the eastern seaboard. Popular destinations like Disneyland will have to figure out a way to deal with the amount of rain. Lower Manhattan will become flooded and half the city will be submerged for days at a time, and you can forget about taking the subway if a Category 6 hurricane strikes America.
The front yard view of the house that I'm in, as y'all can see, the trees, that's the water right there, banging against the window. The water is about 6 feet or over 6 feet deep.
In at number 4, slower moving hurricanes. There are changes happening with hurricanes right now, like the slowing forward motion of a hurricane. They just aren't moving as quickly as they once were. Hurricanes are often the most destructive if they just don't move. Dorian practically parked over the Bahamas for days. It was moving at a speed of 2 miles per hour, which is about as fast as a person walks. If a hurricane barely moves, it means it does not move on to a new location, and more damage to the location it parks over would inevitably occur. More rain, more wind for longer periods of time means more damage to affected areas. In at 3, bigger storm surges. A storm surge, also known as a storm flood, tidal surge, or coastal flood, is essentially a tsunami created by rising water, commonly associated with low pressure weather systems like hurricanes. Rising sea levels, which are occurring as a direct result of climate change, ice caps, and glaciers melting, will result in bigger storm surges created by hurricanes. Storm surges are often the deadliest parts of a hurricane. Most of the casualties that occur during a hurricane are the result of storm surges. The Galveston hurricane of 1900 caused a huge storm surge that claimed the lives of 6,000 to 12,000 people. The biggest storm surge on record was caused by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The surge was 28 feet tall in southern Mississippi. A Category 6 would undoubtedly produce bigger storm surges, and that would especially affect any area near the coastline. Storm surges can often reach several miles inland. This might force entire towns and cities to move inland. Either that or engineers might have to figure out a way to redirect the incoming storm surges with seawalls, or they could raise entire cities, like with the case of Galveston. After the Galveston hurricane of 1900, the greatest natural disaster in the US, about 500 city blocks were actually raised using 16.3 million cubic yards of sand. But until that happens, a horrific number of casualties will occur. In at 2, tornadoes. Hurricanes and tornadoes are typically thought of as separate weather phenomena. Tornadoes usually occur in the interior plains, and hurricanes affect the coastlines. Tornadoes also generate much faster winds than hurricanes. But there have been instances when hurricanes have eventually turned into a series of tornadoes. Hurricanes create all the necessary ingredients to form tornadoes. Hurricanes also contain supercells, which rotate. Hurricanes bring warm, humid air, essentially the fuel for tornadoes. This creates an unstable atmosphere. Cold, less humid air above a layer of warm air. This warm air wants to rise because hot air rises, creating instability. A Category 6 would mean that the wind speeds are much higher. Higher wind speeds are also fuel for tornadoes. At number 1, if you haven't guessed already, if a Category 6 hurricane hits America, it will mean more deaths. Bigger storm surges, more rainfall, higher winds, slower moving hurricanes. All of this swirling together creates more hazards and more potential for loss of life. Many of the people who pass away during a hurricane do so by drowning. People who are especially at risk are children and people who are not strong swimmers. As I previously mentioned, many of the casualties that occur during a hurricane happen as a result of the storm surge. As storm surges get more severe, and if hurricanes move more slowly, rescue and relief efforts won't be able to do their jobs to help people stranded or affected by hurricanes. Oftentimes, the only way people can be rescued during a hurricane is when these conditions die down. But by then, it's already too late. Well, there you have it. Anxiety overload or what? On behalf of IO, we dedicate this video to all of those who've been affected by Hurricane Dorian. As of right now, the death toll has reached 30, and many areas of the Bahamas are experiencing total devastation. Because this video has ended on a somber note, I won't be responding to comments at the end of this video, but if you want to keep watching this channel, check out the playlist that is currently flashing on your screen, and make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I'll see you in a future IO video.